Hello, everyone. Today I'm in conversation with the CEO of the Africa Clinical Research Network, Dr. Tsaro Mukadzange, and we're going to be talking everything clinical trials. So welcome.
Thank you, Alfred. It's nice to be in conversation with you on this.
Fantastic. So the data shows that only 2% of clinical trials are conducted in Africa. This is a continent with lots of people, over 1.5 billion. And so the number of clinical trials conducted is shockingly low. Why does this matter?
It matters. It matters immensely, Wilfred. So, as Africa, we carry a disproportionate burden of disease. We're about 20% of the population, and about a quarter of the disease burden is on the continent. A lot of it is infectious disease and maternal and child health. We still have high rates of maternal mortality, infant mortality. But we also have significant infectious diseases like HIV, TB, malaria. But in addition to that, just like everybody else in the world, we have a lot of cancer, a lot of cardiovascular disease, metabolic disease, kidney disease. And it's so important that we do research to understand that disease burden in our population so that we really have local data that can guide clinicians, scientists, our policymakers on really meeting the needs that are critical for healthcare on the continent.
Just related to what you said, lately in the press, we've been seeing that research in the clinical trial system in particular has been under lots of pressure, lack of funding being withdrawn. What challenges are we seeing elsewhere?
That's very true. I think we have a lot of issues on the domestic front on the continent with funding limitations. A lot of our research funding has been supported by global partners, and as those restrictions, constraints lie on the global partners, we need to start thinking about how do we become competitive globally. As other countries have done, we've seen this in Eastern Europe and Asia, expand to attract more industry trials while also continuing to do the world-class global health trials that Africa has been doing. But even in the Western model, there's increasing pressure on clinical trials. There's a shortage of investigators, not enough trial-ready sites, and so startup times. It's a bit of a shocking statistic, but up to a third of trials fail to enroll, even in the best of settings. So there really is a pressure on sponsors and others to start to look at new geographies, look at new models, look at new partners and new efficiencies.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like quite a lot of challenges that you've described there. Can you talk a little bit about the challenges that individual sites may face, research sites that operate in a silo or in isolation?
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges, but I also think there's a lot of opportunities, right? Whenever you have a challenge, there's an opportunity.
Yes.
But I do think so standalone sites will struggle. Many of us as African sites, we can think of the countless surveys we've gotten from CROs for studies.
Right.
Most of them don't happen. Our country might not be selected, etc. And when you're a standalone site, it becomes very hard to scale efficiently and to attract sponsors efficiently. So there's inconsistencies in the volume and the pipeline of studies, and sponsors worry about inconsistencies around quality as well on a site level. And it's hard for a single site to keep up with evolving demands, changes. This field is a highly regulated field. So it's not quite the same as routine clinical care. There's a lot of structure, a lot of requirements. And so we see in the West a growing development of site networks, because site networks can really bring you that scale. They can really support the quality infrastructure that's needed for trials. As I often say to our team, our business is a data quality business. Right. Research is all dependent on the quality of data.
Agreed.
And so site networks that bring everybody under one umbrella for quality, for sustainability, for pipeline development could be a great advantage. And I think for Africa, it could be a great advantage for us as well.
Yeah, and just to say, within an African context, we've always believed in teamwork, and but yet we find that many sites traditionally have been funded through large donor networks or large grants, and so can you just talk a bit about that?
Yeah, that is very true. And I think it's been a wonderful gift and opportunity to the continent. I think, especially because of infectious diseases like HIV, over the last 20, 30 years, there have been very significant investments in building out that trial capacity and a strong focus on infectious diseases. But as global funding shifts, and also as we all know, it's not a new recognition. All of us have family members with non-communicable diseases.
Right.
We all know that that's a major burden of disease. And so I think for Africa and Africa trial sites, starting to think about, do we need different models that enable us to go from being solely grant funded? Being part of networks is a huge advantage. A lot of the traditional networks are very disease focused. So how can you leverage that skill set, that capability to expand the therapeutic area of coverage and also span the capabilities on the continent and start to attract global investments in research in other therapeutic areas as well?
Wow. Yeah, I think I'm learning some new phrases and terminology. And so based on what you've just said, is this the idea behind the Africa Clinical Research Network?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think as we looked around and thought about, what are the challenges that sites on the continent face, but also investigators face. It's not easy for a COPD investigator to get research, but there is COPD on the continent.
Right.
And so that really has shaped a lot of our thinking. And the idea behind the Africa Clinical Research Network is, can we bring sites together across countries, across therapeutic areas, and across levels of experience on some shared values on processes, data quality, and really working together with that commitment of quality, strengthening our continent's participation in trials to try and increase that participation from 2%, maybe to 10% to the next decade, if we can be the catalyst of that happening.
Wow. So what sort of partners are you looking at within the network? Can you just describe that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the network is relatively new, right? We've been thinking a lot about it over the last couple of years. I came on to kind of build out this initiative about a year and a half ago. We set up the network formally less than a year ago.
Wow.
It feels like a lifetime, but it's relatively recently. We're very fortunate to have strong partners, and so we have some initial studies going, mostly in global health and maternal child health. And those initial partners have really been opportunistic. They've been either our various partners saying, think about working with this institution, this investigator, people that sponsors have helped nurture and develop. And so it's been a very opportunistic approach. What we now want to do is be more intentional about that approach and really intentionally set up the network so that we have a unified competitive network that can attract not only global health, which will be what I anticipate the bulk of what we do initially, but then also attract the industry component. So as we thought about it, we sort of see on the continent, some very strong sites with a lot of capability. So sites that have strong research operations, that have had really decades of experience. Some have had FDA, EMA inspections, etc. So a wealth of capabilities and experience. And we'd like to have partnerships with those sites. And we're calling those kinds of sites our affiliate partners.
Right.
they don't really need that much hand-holding, but can we together sort of harmonize our SOPs, quality metrics, et cetera, so that as a network, we're identified by quality.
Right.
So that's the affiliate site group. And I think especially at the beginning, that will be the larger part of our site partners. Then the second is what we're calling partner sites. Those are sites that have not had as much investments, don't have the same research operations infrastructure. Those are the sites we're excited about. How do we work together to help them build out that capability? And in particular, we're looking for sites and investigators in new therapeutic areas, right?
Okay.
And those can take any form. Those could even be your academic teaching hospitals, your tertiary hospitals. They have the volume, they have the specialists, they see respiratory, they see cardiometabolic, they see a range of diseases that has never really had that opportunity to be in research. It could also be your private practice, right? Your GP who sees a ton of metabolic disease, or your specialist physician who's your neurologist and sees a lot of Alzheimer's disease, wants to do research but doesn't quite know how. And similarly, your private hospital, a good medical records interest. So that's what we're looking for, partners who we can work together to build their capacity. There's a much stronger link in that capacity building. Affiliates have a lot of the capacity already, can hit the ground running with trials that we can pass through to them through our pipeline.
Well, that's quite interesting, and I think it is very novel, very new, that you've expanded it towards what we traditionally know. So what do sites get by actually being part of the ACRN?
Yeah, it's a good question. Why join? What's the point of,
What's in it?
of all it? What is in it for?
Right.
Very important question. So, there's a lot of benefits. We think there's a lot of benefits by coming together. I think you mentioned earlier, in Africa, teamwork is the way we work. Our culture is very communal focused. So I think, building a network where we leverage each of our strengths is going to be very important. One of the things that we really aim to do is to provide a pipeline. So if we have a strong network, it's much easier to go to sponsors or partners and say, hey, we have bladder cancer or prostate cancer as well. I know you've never thought about working in Africa, but we have this network that has the capabilities to deliver. So we're almost stronger together as a network in terms of boosting that pipeline. But we also have some commitments around trials, particularly in global health infectious diseases. So one of the benefits is being able to engage and be part of that pipeline of studies. The next is really providing key tools, especially for the sites that are coming up, from less resourced infrastructure. So things like SOPs. I used to think that was very straightforward. You can do that quickly. It's actually a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work getting it right, getting it right at the site level, etc. All the training, all the quality tools. So we're really investing in being able to support sites in our networks to do that.
Right.
Especially sites that are busy doing other things. Building out that research operations infrastructure should not be what they focus on. What they focus on is delivering good quality care and good quality research. So that's another thing, really bringing you into the ecosystem around SOPs, around training materials, access to our learning management systems, and access to opportunities, not only in GCP, but in training to enable the sites to deliver as it needs to. The other component is the digital infrastructure.
Right, yes, very relevant.
Very important, right? Any sites that has been part of research, one of the biggest challenges is, data quality. A lot of the audits are around, did you name and date correctly? That's right. Did you track correctly? Have you tracked the visits? Are your payments being submitted in time
Right.
because you've tracked your visits correctly to the EDC, etc.? So a lot of work goes into trials. And so having the digital infrastructure to try and streamline that is absolutely critical. And we're really fortunate that one of our key partners is really contributing to this initiative, the digital infrastructure, things that many sites on the continent otherwise can't afford to make that investment. So whether it's your clinical trial management system, your CTMS, your ETMF, the analytics, how is your trial doing, how is it performing? So I think that's a massive advantage. And then supporting on things like regulatory submissions, community engagement. Some folks already have strong community engagement. Others need support to build out their CABs, to build out GPP capabilities, to map local stakeholders. So that's what we're really aiming to provide as the network, a sort of good wraparound service.
I can see it's a wholesome, fulsome service. I wonder what time you get to sleep. with all that you're doing, it's just, it's amazing. And I think from what you've said, I want to just focus a bit about digital platforms and the importance of technology. I know, AI is all the buzz, it's all the rage right now. So talk a bit about, digital technology and the digital platform.
Yeah. Well, I think the digital tools are absolutely important, absolutely critical. Because if you can have strong end-to-end digital capabilities that support everything from site identification, selection, feasibility, so having strong databases of who are your investigators, what are their capabilities, what are their interests, what are the site capabilities, so you can streamline that process. Also, as the network, if we come together, have contracts in place, so standard master service agreement, so that it's very quick. Each new study, you just add it on quickly and streamline that process. And then having the digital systems that support that, but support the whole end-to-end process, whether it's data capture, it's randomization, it's trial management, it's patient interfacing technology. So those digital tools are really critical.
Okay.
I also think it could help Africa sort of leapfrog, right? So many of our countries don't have industry in clinical development. Often industry is in drug distribution, sales, etc. But that skill set that's elsewhere around clinical development is there, but it's not quite as robust as we need it to be. So can we bring in technology? Can we bring in AI? Can we leapfrog what others might struggle with change management and bring it in?
Right.
An example is document writing,
Yes.
or process management or workflow management.
Yes.
AI can really help us with that. And so we're really excited as ACRN to be integrating those things into our models.
I told you I was going to learn a lot of new phrases now. We're talking about leapfrogging
That's right.
into the future.
Yep.
So let's talk about how you want to engage partners. How is that actually going to work? How is that going to actually pan out?
Yeah. I think as I mentioned, so far it's been opportunistic, and now as we reach month 10 and the phases of our development, we really want to be intentional about our first set of network partners.
Right.
I suspect it won't be the only set with time, but we want to start off with a good, strong set and build out from there. And so to do that, we're launching this expression of interest. So really inviting everybody out there, everybody in the community, both sites as well as investigators, to reach out to us, to tell us their interest in doing research, what therapeutic areas they're interested in, what capabilities they have. And it's all capabilities, right? We don't just want hubs. We've thought about this quite a lot. We have a tiering structure. So hubs, really well set up, have had external inspections. But we also want formative partners we can help build and grow and build their capability. And so in this expression of interest, We want to know who's out there on
Right,
the continent.
right.
So we want all of you to reach out to us and tell us who you are.
Right.
Even if you're just an investigator without a site, the investigator sometimes is the most important gap that's missing.
Right.
You want to do a lupus nephritis trial, you need a nephrologist. The nephrologist may not have done trials and studies before, has the patient base, has the knowledge. How can we bridge that gap and support that and work with others in country to help support that? So that expression of interest is really designed for us to hear from all of you, encourage you to tell us that you're out there and that you want to work with us. We're making it short, sweet, easy to fill out, right?
Yes.
How many of us have had these surveys that take
It's
us
just,
3-4 hours to fill out?
Yeah.
We never get them done. The idea here is sweet, short. Take 10, 15 minutes of your time to fill out a quick initial survey. Just who you are, what your interest is, what your site capabilities are, a few questions on your infrastructure capabilities. And it's okay to not have answers to everything. We're not judging you. As we said, we want that diversity in our site partners and metrics.
Sounds like really casting out the net quite wide onto the continent, right?
That's exactly it.
So within the applications, what sort of things will you be looking at in this expression of interest?
Yeah, we're really looking for sites with a commitment to quality.
Okay.
That's almost the baseline. You
Right.
could be as fancy as anything or as simple a site as anything, but you have a commitment to quality.
Right.
Because ultimately, this whole industry and us as scientists, we want to generate data we can trust,
Right.
good quality data. So that commitment to quality is number one. The second is a desire to expand and be part of a network. So to be part of expanding the therapeutic areas that we do research in Africa. We want to do oncology research. We want to do nephrology, cardiometabolic. We have growing obesity, etc. We want to do all of those things. We want folks who want to collaborate across borders. If you just want to be in your own enclave, you know, my place, my country is best,
Right.
that doesn't work. We're really Pan-African. We want folks who want to collaborate across borders. And then leadership, leadership that wants to grow. None of this works if you as an investigator are excited, but your institution and institutional leadership is not behind you. So leadership that wants to grow, or your ability to convince and work with your leadership to have that growth trajectory. You don't need to have all of the infrastructure, right? We've said we're going to have a broad range. You know, it's easier to get started with folks that have a lot of capacity, but we also want to work with folks that don't and help support them as well. So really a mindset of partnership, of learning, of openness to technology, of quality and excellence.
Right. It sounds like you really saying, look, come as you are, no judgment, you know. So any final thoughts for those, you know, either sites or individuals who have that just slight hesitation? Any thoughts for them who are considering applying?
Yeah, don't hesitate. Apply, you know, go to the link, the website link, the expression of interest. We've tried to make it simple and uncomplicated.
Right.
Because we're also investigators. We run sites.
Right,
We've been
right,
doing research for many, many years. We don't want you spending 2-3 hours filling out a form. So don't hesitate. So if you've ever felt that you as an investigator or a site could do more and wanted to be part of a network to help you scale and do more, or you've been part of a network before and seen the value of this and you want to continue and broaden your network, you really should think about you know, applying and expressing your interest in being a part of this. So we're really looking for folks who want to be in that collegial, help us really transform this idea. we're not the only ones who will do this. We can only do this with partners,
Right.
right? Get the 2% to 10%. So everyone apply. The way we'll do it is we'll look through the applications. As I said, we're looking for a broad range of sites. We'll tier the sites based on the capabilities and interests. We'll follow that expression of interest up with telephone calls, virtual interactions with the sites, and then follow that with real in-person visits. So we can really understand your site capabilities, the strengths, gaps, how we could support work together. And then from there, pull together a list of sites that will be our initial starting point, aiming for about 50 sites, which sounds like a lot, but when you think about the countries of the continent and where we'll be, having 1 or 2 sites across key therapeutic areas, key strengths, and ultimately for us aiming to at least have a couple of studies going through each of those sites, we think that's a reasonable number for us to begin with. So yeah, please don't hesitate. Apply, and we're keen to know who you are out there and engage. We love this continent. We're excited about this endeavor, and really want to be sites investigators who want to walk this journey with us.
So just like the survey, for the final words, I'm going to ask you to keep it short and sweet. Just final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Please apply. Express your
interest. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we're just looking forward to all these new applicants and people joining the network.
Thank you. Thank you, Wilfred. And thanks for taking the time.
Right.